Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cycling Journal, a podcast that brings you stories of transformation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on another edition of the Cycling Journal podcast. This session is going to be one in which we talk to Kabir about his evolution in the ultracycling sport and how it has been supported by technology, how he set himself certain targets and goals and how he's worked towards them. And along the way, what was his learning and what were the things that he did which helped him to improve his performance from race to race. Hi, Kabir, and thanks for joining us again.
Thank you so much.
One of the things that I sort of wanted to touch upon was the role that events play in cycling. So, for example, for me, the first 18 years that I was cycling as an adult, I would put my own goals for myself. I wanted to tour, I wanted to explore some countryside, and I would just work. I never trained. 18 years, I never trained. I never did a single event until I signed up for the first 200 BRM in Bombay, in India. And that was the first so-called event. So then, of course, I got involved in organizing events because I personally saw that events was a great way to facilitate cycling, for people to talk about cycling and for people to aspire to cycle. You see some, like how you mentioned in the first episode about saw Milind Soman doing something and you thought about that. And that was what I also thought was my thing. So events have for sure played a big role in your evolution and journey. What do you think about them?
I feel events are a good platform to increase your knowledge. Maybe you see a lot of like-minded people who share same passion, who wants to race, or they have different mindset, they have different strategies, from like bike fit se lekar the way they put stickers on their car or maybe the sound speakers on their car. You learn a lot of things out of it because there are maybe 10 people who are racing in a event and everyone has different strategy, everyone has different bike fit, everyone has different equipments. So you can pick and choose something which can help you grow. Somebody's bike fit is like if you see Chaitanya's saddle, it is so tilted towards the front hand, front side. It is not possible to sit on that saddle. I don't know how Chaitanya manages to sit. And so you see different things. Someone uses infinity saddle, someone uses normal triathlon bike ka saddle, someone is on aero posture for a lot of time, someone uses different kind of helmets. So I feel events are very good to learn and progress. And of course, it gives you reality check that at what stage you are right now. If you feel that you do very well, go and try some event or go and try some race. You will get a real knowledge about it. क्योंकि घर में बैठ के समझ में नहीं आएगा कि आपका एबिलिटी क्या है. So it is always easy to tell someone कि अरे लास्ट में डीसी का 60 किलोमीटर तो जस्ट फ्लैट है, वहां पे जाके भगाओ. But when you come to DC and when you ride those last 60 kilometer, you get to know that this 60 kilometer is toughest section of the DC because it has a lot of steep climbs. You are already tired. You can see the finish line is near, but again some steep climbs come. People start walking. So it is always good to go to some event, participate, ride, and experience these things.
I think the great thing about events is the human interaction.
Yeah.
Because
you meet a lot of people.
Interacting, you're learning from each other.
Yeah.
And then the energy also changes because someone can go and do the Deccan Cliffhanger course. But
Correct.
until you're in this group and the whole energy is like hyped up, because I see that in DC a lot more than in the other races. I see it in DC
Correct.
because the group size is bigger, it's more competitive, there's more energy has come from all around the country. So you're also aware that that many more people are watching you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on a transparent platform. So for every single person who's in the race, there's that much more pressure of being
Correct.
connected across the country,
Yeah.
having people watch. So, yeah,
Exactly.
that's,
And a lot of people are hyped about Guinness records these days. So I hear from a lot of riders like, what if we do K2K or Deccan Cliff and sorry, GQC and then go for RAM? So I always tell them that it is good for your long rides, but it is not for such competition, because when you are in a race, there are officials, there are some rules you have to
yeah,
follow. There is the main thing which you can't replicate is that competitive feeling when other riders are overtaking you, you get a chance to overtake them. How do you handle that pressure? In Guinness record, you just have a target that you have to
right.
reach from A point to point in given time. But in races, these circumstances makes things pretty difficult, like
Yeah,
following all the rules, parking your vehicle on the extreme left side, uh, riding in proper headlights, which are very useful in RAM race, because these
right,
rules are, you have to stick with those rules.
right.
And if there is no competition in some Guinness record, you don't push yourself. If you're not doing well, you're not that pressurized in record attempt. But
Correct.
in race, if somebody is ahead of you, he is ahead maybe 40 kilometers ahead of you, to make a strategy, to follow that plan, to not to give up, push harder. These things come into events. So for such goals, you have to plan races or such events where officials are there.
Right.
You're
Yeah, and then
getting watched by a lot of people. Yeah,
even your crew gets to perform
of
under that
course.
pressure of,
Under pressure.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. They are
knowing
always on the toes. Yeah, I don't think my crew is so much under pressure when we are doing DC, because DC is a short race. You have very less room to correct any mistakes what
yeah,
you do. You
right,
don't get that time to correct your errors. Okay, in
right,
RAM you can correct your errors because it is a
a
12-day
lot,
race.
right,
You get a lot of time. Your shift is going to
right,
change. But in DC, they are always on toes. One mistake and they know that we end up losing 5 to 6 minutes,
right,
and that is
right,
huge if you are going for some record attempt or something. So
correct,
yeah, it is always
yeah,
good to attempt races and events.
yeah. I think Abhi, uh, if I try to imagine in events ka role in today's modern life for humanity, so I think human beings have always had something. So I see them as the replacement for the festivals that we used to have.
Correct.
मेला होता था, कोई यात्रा होती थी, ये वो हम लोग सब इकट्ठे मिलके
I
ये
know.
करते थे, और उसमें भी बहुत नॉलेज ट्रांसफर, उस जमाने में जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट था उसका, वो नॉलेज ट्रांसफर तब हो रहा था. तो आई थिंक आज के जमाने में फाइनली ह्यूमन बीइंग को चाहिए तो वही चीज है. तो these events form that sort of festival,
Correct.
the role that festivals used to play. I remember कि PVP 2015 में मोहिंदर सिंह जी,
Huh.
उनके साथ हम लोग पेरिस में बैठे थे. तो पूना के रैंडोनियर्स थे कुछ, और नासिक के ग्रुप था, नासिक बॉम्बे पूना का हमारा ग्रुप बैठा हुआ था. वी वर हैविंग वाइन एंड बियर एंड
Correct.
bread and
Hmm.
cheese and sitting in this lovely French countryside place. तो मोहिंदर सिंह जी ने उस वक्त बोला था कि अगर ब्रेवेज नहीं होते और अगर
Hmm.
ये इवेंट्स नहीं होते, तो मुझे, मैं इमेजिन ही नहीं कर सकता. एंड ही इज अ मच ओल्डर पर्सन, so he
Of
spent his
course.
whole life not having done these things, and there are
Correct.
much later age he said कि मैं imagine ही नहीं कर सकता था 5-6 साल पहले कि मैं ऐसे कभी इधर बैठा हूँगा या मैं US he has crewed for Mahindra and
Mahindra, yeah, in
so
this RAM.
US में ऐसा करता और फ्रांस में ऐसा बैठा होता ये so it's a nice ecosystem में क्या क्या changes आ जाती है and what people take away from it can also be varied. It was nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Also, one other aspect of discussion related to events is something that I used to tell people is that not only there's a interdependence between the racers and the events. So not only do racers benefit from having events, but I think that even events benefit from having racers that take on these challenges. So, for example, this was, I see that because you have been coming for these races for so consistently and targeting an improved performance and podiums and improving your own thing in race after race that Inspire India puts up and then RAM, I see that has given back to these events also, because the quality of the events raises people's aspirations when they look at these races. The other racers also look at the performances that you are giving and have targets and goals that they can aspire to, that challenge them to do better. So I used to, see how race around Austria greatly benefited from Strasser being there and being someone at the peak of his performance and coming and race around Austria in that country itself. RA became a big event.
I know, of course.
And attracts a lot of people. So, I would thank you for having given back to these events. And so now we get more into the intention behind this session, this interview, which is that the role that technology has played in improving your performance. So like from the very first race that you came, not just bike tech, but I think when we talk about technology, there's all kinds of things. There's nutrition, there's your mental preparation, crew preparation, communications, all these things. So from the very first DC to your RAM 2022 finish, there's been a huge evolution in that. So can you give the listeners a little feedback on how you see that, what all technologies have helped and what all you're using now?
So data, I feel, helps a lot in anything. If you have proper maintained data, it can give you a lot of performance booster. Okay. So if there are a few listeners who follow F1 races or maybe some MotoGP races, it's all about data. How much they, what was the speed of air, wind, how much drag they create, what wing does what. So everything depends on that data, and data is maybe plays a hidden important role. So I remember on my first DC, I didn't even have a proper GPS monitor. Okay, I had a Decathlon ka normal speedometer, which is connected with that wheel ka normal chota sa magnet sensor, and it gives you the accurate distance. So I had two on the different bikes. So I wasn't aware about all these heart rate monitors, heart rate straps. I guess my first cycling shorts was I bought after my 3 BRMs. So first 200 and 300 ka BRM, I did it on normal gym ka shorts. So and I used to see Sharvari. She used to ride on one jeans ka shorts.
Uh-huh.
Okay, she even did 600 ka BRM on that normal jeans ka shorts.
Wow.
Yeah, and I always call her as an idol because I know for my first BRM, she was the one who dragged me. कि चल खत्म होने को आया, it's just 20 kilometers. Even though we
Okay.
reached at same time, but she
Uh,
was like 10 times. She was looking 10 times fresh than me. Okay, so
hmm.
she's always like an idol for me
Amazing.
in cycling. Yeah, because she was so much stronger at that time when I was nowhere, but she was still one of the best composed riders. I feel strongest. Uh, so Shagwari is also a big part of my cycling journey. And then yeah, I saw the Garmin data and also. We started investing in those GPS monitors and all. So we used to get heart rate thing. Uh, I started looking at my heart rate graphs, how it goes on the climbs, how it goes on flat sections. So it was never the case कि ले लिया और रख दिया, okay, और ले लिया और सिर्फ use किया. I always used to analyze these things कि ये climb पे
Right.
इतना heart rate अगर ये time पे था, then on these days the heart rate was like this. इसके पहले मैंने क्या खाया था ट्रेनिंग के पहले, उस दिन मैंने क्या खाया था, wind कैसा था. Then thereafter I started looking at my recovery data. So I invested in Whoop, this thing. So it gives you the data of recovery, the sleep data. Even Garmin gives you sleep data. Nowadays, now I'm waiting for Ultra Humans Ring. They have come up with the ring, so you don't have to wear these things. You can just wear a ring, and it gives you
Yeah.
all these data. So that is even in small things.
I
So
saw that.
I started looking at yeah. I started monitoring my sleep data, how much I spend in my deep sleep, how much I spend in my REM sleep, what is my recovery for the next day's training. So I started relying upon it. But you have to give the first preference to your body field. Okay, if your
Ah,
instrument says that you are 100% recovered, but you don't feel 100%, it is not a good day to push yourself a lot. You can just keep it as an assistance, and when you both are on the same page, you can go with the technology. But first preference you have to give to your like personal, how do you feel on that day.
right.
So these things we started doing it. Initially I used to ride with, say, like a headphone in my ear or something. We came up with putting a Bluetooth speaker on the car. That was also a small invention, or maybe a thing which we did. We saw a lot of people putting speakers on their car and making changes in their like wires and all, but we put just a normal charging cable and a Bluetooth speaker on the bonnet, so you don't have to interfere with all the wires and all, and that
Yeah.
becomes risky in the races, because if that is not properly fitted, it can like burn your entire wiring. So
Wow.
yeah,
Uh,
that becomes pretty crucial in such cases when you're
yeah.
doing something and you're doing it on your own. So we always stick to a good Bluetooth speaker, and so it was always difficult for us to, say, like communicate with the crew while riding. We saw a lot of riders wearing such Bluetooth communication things in the RAM. So we invested in the cargo thing. This year we upgraded it to, like, we connected with the car speaker. So everybody in the car was able
Ah,
to speak with me. I was able to communicate with them. So
ah,
this was again a new upgrade for us. So it gives you a lot of good environment, because you are part of the vehicle.
right.
Okay, everything what is going there is coming to you. You can communicate with everyone, and you don't feel bored, or you don't feel alone on the road.
Right.
Yeah, that is very good for your sleep thing. because you don't
Long race, that's
feel
really
sleepy.
important.
Yeah, of course. So you don't feel sleepy. You are always taken care by your crew because they know that how you are talking, if you are feeling sleepy or not.
Right.
So these things were not there in my initial races. We were riding pretty like someone is very new to cycling, because I was very new to cycling. Uh, then after these Garmin, these sleep recovery, so everybody has it now. So what is next? What we can increase and what gain we can have it where other people are lacking. So we fortunately the Ultraman brand came in. I was introduced to these glucose monitors. So I starting
Right.
looking at the glucose numbers
So, and
because
when was it that you started using Ultrahuman?
December, in December 2021.
So after, so you hadn't tried it out on any of the races before that.
No, 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 no,
Started
no,
to
no.
monitor
So
your.
the
Okay.
correct. So first time we tested on a long ride, it was Mumbai, Jaipur, Mumbai. Okay, but
Correct.
I started using it on the daily basis, like training ke pehle, what are my glucose numbers? If my glucose is below 100 mgdl, how I perform. If my glucose is between 120 to 140 mgdl, how my body reacts. If my glucose is above 120, how I feel.
Right.
Because if you're under fueled, you're not very well prepared for hard session. You're going to end it in middle or somewhere. You're not capable of doing it. And if you are over fueled, you are going to feel lethargic. You feel like, okay, मुझे कुछ नहीं करना है, I'll just rest or I'll just sleep. So I always try to keep my glucose level between 120 to 140 mgdl before hard sessions, so I can finish them properly in good capacity. So it is person to person.
So
Somebody might
your
feel
your insights and your learning about your own nutrition, uh,
correct.
did that change a lot after you started using?
Yeah, it changed a lot actually. I used to have a lot of pizza before my sleeping time in long distance. Say like if I'm sleeping in Madikeri in Ultra Spice race, I used to
Uh,
have a pizza before I sleep. Okay,
uh,
so we always think that pizza gives you a lot of energy because of its bread. It's actually a good uh, food for cyclists if we are doing long distance cycling, because it has cheese, it has bread,
yeah.
carbs are there. So a lot of good things also are there, like jalapenos or olives, capsicum, everything is there. So, but after analyzing it on the glucose monitor, whenever I used to have pizza, my sugar level used to glucose level used to go down for like 4 hours. Yeah, it never used to go up, it used to go
Oh,
down
it's to go down.
because your body, yeah, because your body takes lot of energy to digest that food. Okay, but
Ah,
after 3 hours it used to give me a constant spike which used to stay for like four
okay.
hours 5 hours, but you
Okay.
can't compromise on your 2 hours energy because of pizza, because those
Right.
2 hours can harass you mentally, that you are not feeling strong, you are not
Right.
feeling energetic, you're not getting power. And it is totally different on the cycling, because you are putting a lot of energy, you are not getting energy out of your body, and you won't get that good spike even after 3 hours. So we started having pizza. I used to have it, but I used to have it in small portions, because
Okay.
if the portion is small, your body is going to digest it quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made a lot of changes in portions. We made a lot of changes in timing of the food. I always
Uh,
used to feel that chapati works very good for me, but it it was visible that the rice works pretty well for me than the chapati, because
okay.
chapati always used to give me a lot of spikes in my glucose numbers, maybe more than sugar.
Oh,
So
really? Huh.
yeah, so sometimes your body is not meant for few things,
Huh.
and you put it in your like body, and that doesn't work well with your body. If we see someone has one drink, उसको उतना ही चढ़ेगा जितना किसी को 10 ड्रिंक पीने के बाद चढ़ेगा. So it is person to
Right.
person
Yeah.
how it reacts with your body.
Yeah.
And we always think that अगर पतला होना है, ज्यादा fit रहना है, तो don't eat rice. Okay, but rice comes into one of the best sattvic food.
Right.
Your system
Yeah.
stays calm.
Yeah.
You feel more full with a less quantity, and
Right.
rice work like a miracle. Like it never used to go in red zone spikes. It always used to be in a green zone, and it used to be
Mm-hmm.
stay longer time for a longer time.
Hmm.
I used to have chicken, mutton initially, but I read a lot of things about non-veg. Okay, so
Ah.
they give a lot of antibiotics, lot of steroids to grow them faster. Okay, and it comes indirectly to in your body. Okay,
Yes.
one more thing, what I observed is the way they treat these animals. So they go through such depression and they releases some kind of hormones in their body. Okay, if we
Yeah.
see a truck full of chickens, if they are traveling in a rain or something, you see them
Yeah.
that they are in a depressing state. Okay, and when you eat such meat, uh, those hormones come into your body,
Yeah.
and they are not going to help you for what you are having it. Okay, you're having it for like more protein, but frankly speaking, this is all myth that you can have protein with only meat or only with protein shakes. A lot
Right.
of people forgets that it is called supplement. Okay, you can't treat it as a main food. A lot of
Right.
people are like they have 3 scoops of protein and all. I simply stick to lot of dal, lot of lentils, lot of dahi, cheese. So these things are like I can tell everyone that if I can do RAM with such proper food and nutrition, you can even do it, because this is all myth which is made up by all of lot of food industries and all. You
Three.
know how these things
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Even if somebody knows, he will not uh, disclose these things ki it is not so necessary for your body, uh,
Right.
because ये इतना माइक्रो लेवल से बनाया गया है कि even if you go and enter some gym, your trainer will tell you कि have a whey protein. He don't even know what is the difference between whey protein and amino acids and maybe glutamine or amino energy. He will just tell you to have a whey protein because it is advertised so much because of maybe some actors, some athletes.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so people think that
I
again,
mean,
नहीं
it's
वो
a
खा रहा है तो
whole,
मैं भी खाऊंगा.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
industry. And I
yeah.
think,
It is a
uh, I mean, I saw a lot of when GU gels and right in the beginning when there was earlier before that there wasn't anything over here, but then as it started to
correct.
come, so this is a fact that when the ecosystem grows, there is always these things also that come. Like previously, this was not available over here, and nobody
Of
had it.
course,
I did
of
also
course.
based on absolutely, natural food and whatever was available on the roads. And a lot of the things that you're talking about now was my observations from my own body's
Correct.
behavior while riding, which
Yeah.
was that rice was the most easy for me to have while continuing to
Have.
be able to ride and perform.
Yeah.
That sugar was, for me at least, it never worked. I was never,
Yeah.
I used to see others having, what is that? Chocolate and this
Coke,
and that. But
chocolate and coke. Yeah.
I could never have it. And once on one brevet, somebody stopped to have sugarcane juice and मुझे भी पिला दिया. मैंने बोला चल ना लेना, कुछ नहीं होता, ले ले. And oh God, उसके बाद पसरनी का क्लाइम था. एंड वो उसका शुगर स्पाइक पसंद के क्लाइंट के पहले ही खत्म हो गया. उसके बाद आई वाज लाइक सो बट coming back to this products and stuff, that is also a part of it, but like you said, that is it's supplement
Yeah.
to everything else that is supporting your
Correct.
natural
Main it is.
body's ability to. So
Yeah.
one question I have at this point is that in say RAM B 2020 22, what percentage of your energy source, nutrition source was just normal foods, And how much of it would you say you were having in the form of any of these
powders and all.
powders?
Yeah, SN energy and all. Huh. So I would say first day was totally on the SN energy thing. Okay. Because so I always tell everyone, you don't have to take these things on your daily basis. Okay. These
Yeah.
things are not made for your body to have it day-to-day basis. Okay.
Right.
You have to be you have to take your natural food, natural things while you ride in the home. But when you're out on some competition, okay, you can't uh, take 400 calories with a small portion of ye, okay, because that time you don't have any choice. You have to go
Right.
faster, you have to keep your stomach light.
Right.
So if it's on first 3 days, I try to stick mostly on the SN energy thing, okay,
Okay.
because it gives me sustained energy properly. It worked perfectly on me, and it gives you all these micronutrients like potassium, sodium, which helps you to maintain your muscles properly and won't put strain on your muscles. You won't suffer from cramps. So after 3 or 4 days, maybe my 20% diet was used to be on the solid food, something like Subway sandwich or maybe so every day I used to eat khichdi before sleeping. Sapna used to cook khichdi for me, so
Oh,
lots of ghee. So you have to have such normal food which you have on daily basis, because you can't cheat your body all of a sudden. If you get
right.
such normal food which you have daily, your body will perform normally. And if you change the entire nutrition, your body will go into shock.
Right.
You have to eat some small portions of solid food in entire day, maybe like 3 times or 4 times when you're used to have it. So I used to have these such solid foods also. But I on the training days, I always stick on normal routine, natural thing, recovering on natural things, having eggs or maybe having lots of dal, curd, milk, these things. And I usually don't have protein supplements on daily basis. Yeah, but yeah, it makes a lot of difference when you go to your from your training to your race. You have to do a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was always
As long as you've tried and tested the item beforehand
correct.
in your training day,
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah,
what effect it has on you. Then you can.
correct.
Uh,
And I feel nutrition and bike fit are and your crew are these three things which are most crucial about any long distance cycling. I still don't feel that I have found my perfect nutrition. There are always few changes which we do, and we get good results out of it. But yeah, you have to keep trying something new, do something else. We try a lot of new food. Like I started having smoothies, homemade smoothies, almond butter, which gives you good energy. Yesterday, Sapna was telling me if we eat in silver utensils or something, your muscles get more strength.
uh-huh.
Because yeah, so she gave me a good pot of like good silver pot to have
Nice.
muesli and all in that.
Yeah.
We saw everyone for newborn babies we use silver
Yes.
spoon and all, because
Yes.
that is
Oh.
good for them. It don't
Uh-huh.
has any virus or something
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
So these natural things works very well. We always follow Rujuta Divekar, okay, on the Instagram, and she comes up with such good thoughts and good inputs. She is like,
Yeah.
जो तुम्हारी दादी तुमको खिलाती थी, आज वही चीजें तुमको हल्दी शॉट्स बोल के पिलाएंगे.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, they will come
Uh,
with something new name and you will start having it. They will come with a plant protein, but it is like tawarnacha shinga, what we call it.
oh.
The
Yeah.
pea protein. Then she is like, then pea khao na, tumko
Yeah.
milta hai na
Yeah.
market mein,
Direct
wahi
from
khao.
source.
So she's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, she never advertises any brand or something. So to
Yeah.
get small inputs, I always feel her page is the best thing, because someone who is at that stage and don't advertise any products and any
Right.
supplements, where she
Right.
can earn crores of rupees out of it.
Huh.
At what stage she is, she never advertises such things, or maybe supplements, or maybe material. She always asks us to stay on that normal natural thing.
So
So
actually, I have had this discussion with some people about how when we say the words science and technology, we think only in terms of the modern interpretation of science and technology.
correct.
But I've discussed with people how whatever in our Indian diaspora, everything that became a part of our culture, and particularly in a civilization like ours, which has got thousands of years history of
Yeah,
developing here in connection with our soil, our land,
correct.
uh, every little thing in our what came down to us through our traditions, and particularly also through yoga, Ayurveda, that was developed through a science based methodology. It was not
Correct.
called science. उस वक्त ये नाम नहीं था क्योंकि वो anyway English word है, मगर
Correct.
जिस तरह से वो डेवलप हुआ और जिस तरह से पास ऑन हुआ, उसका बेसिस जो था वो साइंटिफिक ही था. सो इट इज इन
Correct.
सम वेज टेक्नोलॉजी ओनली. जैसे अभी योगा में प्राणायाम बोलो तो पहले टाइम जब भी मैंने प्राणायाम योगा टीचर से सीखा, आई एम लाइक दिस इज समथिंग सो इनक्रेडिबली इम्पोर्टेंट जो हम लोग सोचते ही नहीं है.
Correct.
How important breath is. Prana means
Yeah.
that life,
Yeah.
and how important that is for our well-being, and
Correct.
how through yoga you can actually completely change your health, your body,
Correct.
through just one part of it. So I actually do think that that also comes under this topic of technology.
Yeah.
And so what would you say are some of the things that you have done which are based on this long history, cultural tradition of that we have access to in India?
Yeah. So luckily, I met with two nutritionists. Okay, one is one because of the ultra human thing, because they were helping me to perform better and all. So there is one PhD thing. So potential health development. So the nutritionists out there, and the Namrata, which we took a session with Namrata before the year.
Yeah.
All these guys were so much onto these micro things. They Namrata used to tell me to have black pepper in the morning. It decreases your muscle inflammation. To have haldi, lots of haldi, because it recovers your body internally. So we think that अरे हाँ कुछ लगा है तो बाहर से हल्दी लगाओ, but we never used to think कि अगर हल्दी ज्यादा खाएंगे तो internally भी वो वैसा ही इफेक्ट करेगा on the muscles.
Yeah.
But instead of amino energy or something, these things also work pretty well. Beetroot juice or maybe carrot juice. I got to know for the first time that pomegranate increases your recovery by 10%. The
Wow.
time the pomegranate
Amazing.
fruit or maybe juice, something like
Amazing.
that. So yeah, we started having those that in the races. So अगर पीने का मन भी नहीं है तो सपना used to stand with a pomegranate का juice कि नहीं पी ले ये
Right.
चीज पी ले. So we now think, like Sapna and me were talking, that we never used to have food outside when we used to stay with mom and dad Udgir mein.
Right.
My mother never used to
Correct.
छानो that आटा. She used to just put it itself जैसा गिरने में से आया है, and वही वैसे proper ये करता है.
Correct.
We see lot of people doing that सफाई कि हाँ ये करो, ये बाजू में डालो, but our mother used to say like इसमें भी सबसे ज्यादा गुण होता है. If you are having orange juice and you are putting those thing aside, तो उसमें तो आप फाइबर एंड ऑल तो फेंक ही रहे हो, तो उसमें कुछ फायदा नहीं है जूस पीने का. So these guys had a lot of knowledge about these things. She used to make a lot of palak, methi, something. So Sapna tried to uh, keep the entire nutrition as it is, like lots of green vegetables, fruits, the basic things जो हम पहले से खाते थे, because these things work very well on me. So ये सारी चीजें हुई. Then one thing is that when I did vitamin D test, so I got to know that I have deficiency of vitamin D. I spoke to Namrata about the deficiency कि यार इतना धूप होता है, ऐसे
हाँ
कैसे, हम लोग तो साइकिल चलाते बाहर.
हाँ
But Namrata was telling me कि lots of Asians, like 90% of Asians have vitamin D deficiency because uh, there is some element which converts sunlight into vitamin D is not there in Asians. So we always lack of vitamin D. So even
hmm.
for vitamin D, she gave me a cold pressed coconut oil to have it daily, maybe 4 drops or 6 drops. So that was also very natural. It was not with some supplements ki goli lo aap vitamin D ka. It was with
Right.
a cold pressed coconut oil.
I'm a big
So
fan of coconut in all forms. So,
wow,
क्योंकि when I was doing brevis, I discovered that I could keep riding whole day on coconut water.
correct.
Just coconut water and
Huh.
because it kept me light, gave me everything that I needed to be. But I
And
was
it
not.
reminds me, and it reminds me of this PhD team, the current nutrition thing, Bala. They asked me to have coconut water in the afternoon time before the training and have that malai,
Yeah,
because that will give me a lot of energy for my
yeah,
training. So they told me that you can have the pani as well as you can have that coconut, because that coconut is the main thing.
uh,
You should have it.
uh,
So all my nutritionists never asked me to starve myself or to limit my nutrition. They
right.
always used to tell me ki have more, have it in proper portions and
And
for a
fine
lot of
tune.
time.
Right.
Yeah, and fine tune it. So I was never told that don't have this, don't have that, or have these supplements particularly.
Right.
So they worked in such a manner कि सारी चीजें घर में ही मिलती थी
Right.
and वही हमको proper portion में लेना था. So yeah, we always stick to the natural thing. And yeah, you have to take some supplements while you are in the race, because you can't maintain that much of requirement
Yeah.
with the food in a day. So you have to have very
Also,
complex tablets.
during a race, you are demanding something out of your body, which is not even
Not
during, it's
usual,
not,
correct.
yeah, it's far more than even training time. You're
Yeah,
demanding something out of it. So at that time, it's kind of acceptable that you need to supplement your performance.
yeah. So you
Uh,
can have it only when it is required.
yeah,
You just can't put your body into that phase ki अगर नहीं रोज ही खाना है, रोज ही हम ये खाएंगे. So you have to take it only when it is required, and it gives you a lot of gains, because if you are used to something, you won't get that gain out of it. If you have coffee daily like 3 times, and when you are feeling sleepy and when you have that coffee, I feel people can sleep more peacefully after having that coffee,
I
because you're
me, I drink my coffee and I can sleep perfectly.
I know, but you discontinue that coffee for 4 months, and if you
Yeah,
have coffee, you get that rush.
yeah,
So it is always good to change your food, maybe pattern, or that supplement, so it can give you proper gains. Always while doing training, you can't do that training day-to-day basis, because your body will get used to it.
right,
Okay, if you do daily 500 squats, your body will feel nothing after maybe 6 months. It will do 500 squats easily. But
right,
if you try doing lunges, then your body goes into some different challenge
right,
itself. So you have
right,
to change your programs also after 40 sessions, maybe 50
right,
sessions, so that you can gain a lot of the gains out of it.
right. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm sure So there's two more topics that I wanted to cover. One was about, so your bike, uh, the technology that has, the
Correct.
bike tech basically, or your
Yeah.
equipment, that has also evolved tremendously from the first to now.
Yeah.
Um, and do you feel now that you have got the kit that, uh,
Yeah. Make
you
me
know,
win RAM, or maybe make me win some difficult races.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess bike is totally loaded now, from oversized pulleys to ceramic bottom brackets to like carbon wheels. Okay. A lot of people think that if you have carbon wheel, you will go at 40 kmph, 50 kmph. It is not like that. It is up to the rider, what
Yeah.
ability he has. Okay. These equipments can save a lot of energy, lot of watts. Okay. If I put maybe 100 watts to go at 30 kmph on a flat section with a normal alloy wheel, I will put only 90 watts or maybe 85 watts on these carbon wheels. So you are saving on those wattage and you are suffering less. Okay, it is never like कि alloy का wheel अगर 40 के speed पे जाएगा तो carbon का wheel 60 पे जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है. It will save you a lot of energy. Okay, you can gain 60 ka speed on the alloy wheels also, but you will have to put lot of energy to gain that speed.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, but if your bottom bracket is, so my all the bikes had ceramic bottom bracket. My two primary bikes has two oversized pulleys in the back side. So oversized pulleys change the angle of the chain. It is more in a straight thing. So
Ah,
it because it is so that friction is less.
uh-huh.
What
Okay.
comes in those small pulleys, so that friction is less because it is
Amazing.
giving a, so it is like a circle. When we take a small circle, you have to steer a lot because आपको
Right.
मेहनत करना पड़ता है, because that circle is small but the
Right.
circle is big. You take that circle very easily because that friction is not there, that angle is not there, so chain goes with lot of less traction, lot of
Amazing.
less stress. So
Amazing.
so these things helps a lot to save lot of energy, uh, go more smoother, quicker. Pedal feels very easy when the bracket is like so smooth. Um, we can say the bottom bracket is of ceramic bearing. Okay, the pedaling is very smooth. You get that momentum very easily.
Yeah.
It is especially very good for the climbs when you can maintain a good cadence. I see there is almost 10 to 12 का cadence difference if I use ceramic speed bearing and if I use normal bearings,
Amazing. Okay.
because
Wow.
that friction is there
Right.
on the normal bearings, which is not
Right.
there with the ceramic bearings. Lots of people think that these things are pretty costly. Ceramic bottom bracket comes for like 25,000, but it comes with a 4-year warranty. Okay, so and these
Right.
things are made to last like 10 years. Okay, so you're not gonna waste your money something which is not going to sustain for long
Right.
period. Uh,
And
the helmets,
this ultracycling is an expensive sport.
of course,
The
it
risk
is the
about
most
it is
expensive
yeah.
sports, I feel. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there are different kind of helmets. You can't just buy a helmet which is looking good for some pictures or something. You have to different have different helmets for different strategies. If it is a flat course, the wind is maybe you want to go faster. You have to have aero helmets which have less ventilation,
Right.
because that will cut the wind and it might save almost like 10 seconds or maybe 12 seconds on a 40-kilometer course or maybe something like that. There are skin suits, uh, aero bottles, aero handles. So aerodynamic is the maybe most important part of such races. Maybe it is bike racing or cycle racing. So aerodynamic plays a huge difference role. I feel aero bars are very crucial for your such cases because you are tucked into aero position.
Right.
It saves almost 15 to 20% of your energy. When you can save 20% of energy just putting your hands on the aero bar, you can go like 120 kilometer at the energy of 100-kilometer ka thing,
Right.
and you will be more faster. So it is, you, everybody knows that when we ride behind some other rider, you save
Right.
almost 30% of energy.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but in such self support, in such RAM qualifier races, it is
Where
not allowed.
drafting is not allowed.
Yeah, yeah. And to
Yeah.
be aero, it is very crucial. So to maintain that angle, to be more aero, it saves more energy. But you have to have a good core strength, good lower back strength, so
Yes.
that you can survive pretty well on these the setups. So I
Right.
always invest on such things which will give me a marginal gain,
Advantage.
because even 1% of marginal gain can save your 3 hours in RAM, because it is a long race.
Yeah.
Even a 1% gain can give you a 1 day ka sleep break.
Right.
So you
Right.
have to go with that mindset that whether it is a marginal gain or a big gain, but you have to have that gain. You can't
Yeah.
uh,
Because a
compromise
marginal,
on it.
right, and a marginal gains are amplifying over a
The
long
period of
race
time.
like
Yeah,
RAM,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
important. And in the same way that marginal losses also
yeah,
amplify like crazy in
yeah.
long races. Like
Exactly,
you're losing a little
exactly.
bit at every time, by the end of the race, you've lost a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you must be you must have seen my first DC ka clothing. It was all shabby. Uh, Wind आए तो मतलब पूरा ऐसे फट 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 बजेगा जो भी है.
Yeah.
Bike fit was something कि जहाँ पे मैं बहुत ज्यादा upright हूँ. Even for my second DC, I
Yeah.
was so upright because I was scared of that aero position पहले. But now I can't wear such clothes for some race, because
Right.
at the end of the race it might give me some it might take a toll of around 8 to 10 minutes only because of that
Right.
shirt.
Yeah.
So that is huge. So you have to so once you achieve lot of performance gain, that is the time you should work on these things, because these things can give you lot of increase in your performance. Because FTP जाएगा 350 360 400 तक maximum, but उसके बाद क्या, उसके बाद आप gain कहाँ से लोगे? उसके बाद you have to upgrade your equipment. I always see
So for sure, you're saying that for someone who's getting into this, the first thing to focus on is your own physical
performance.
performance and your own
Yeah,
physical ability. And then you start looking at how technology can assist you to improve further.
exactly.
I
I
do
see a lot
know
of
that a lot of people also start assuming that पहले technology होनी चाहिए, पहले I need to
I
have
know.
the best bike and this and that, and then I'll, but I think this is an important thing that you have to be ready to use these technologies to improve
Correct.
further on your performance.
Correct.
But,
I see a lot of overweight riders which are like 85, 90 kg maybe. They are talking about, अरे कबीर मैं ये बाइक लूं क्या, ये 6 kg का है, ये वाला तो 8 kg का है. But you can like decrease 20 kg out of your body itself.
yeah.
It will give you a lot of gain.
Yeah.
So work on that itself.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
tell them frankly that
Yeah.
if you like decrease your, maybe if you lose your 10 kg weight, it
Yeah.
will give you a lot of boost in your performance.
Yeah.
You'll be more
Yeah.
lighter, you will be more swift.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can make changes in like grams. Somebody will be asking कि Dura-Ace लूं या Ultegra लूं, दोनों में 500 ग्राम का डिफरेंस है. अरे but that 500 gram is crucial for those riders who are riding in Tour de France, where they reach like in micro milliseconds, and
Right.
जहाँ पे वो riders अपना maximum hit कर चुके होते हैं, they are like so skinny. उसके
Yeah.
बाद वो कहाँ से कम करेंगे? Because it
Correct.
will affect their performance if they lose more weight.
Right.
So they have to shave off their weight from these equipments.
Correct.
So that comes
Yeah.
after a stage जब आप खुद के performance में कुछ भी gain नहीं कर पाओगे. You can do it parallelly कि अभी इतना भी gain हुआ है, then I can upgrade my wheels, I can upgrade my aero bar, I can upgrade my bottles, maybe ceramic bottom bracket. But ऐसा नहीं कि you go with top loaded bike and you see somebody is crossing you on a Firefox का normal road bike, or maybe between ka
Yeah,
normal road
yeah,
bike. I have seen
yeah,
people.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I I saw sugar free ka some cyclothon in 2016 when
Huh,
Mirza Beg was there on the Palm Beach with his carbonal bike, zip ke proper wheels, aero helmet, skin suit, and everything. And there were few people who were putting banyan on their seat, okay, chicken legs, uh, उनके अगर बॉडी को देखो तो टोटल बेसिक बाइक्स लाइक मैं तो बोलूंगा कि जो जीता वही सिकंदर में भी अच्छी अपग्रेडेड बाइक्स थी दीज वर लाइक हीरो की
huh,
हॉक बाइक्स एंड दे
huh,
रीच्ड ऑलमोस्ट 2 minutes बिफोर मिर्जा on that 9 kilometer ka course. So
right.
you see how capable these riders are, and these are performing on such a great with intensity
Right.
कि वहां पे होता. So that was the time when I thought कि नहीं यार पहले खुद को अपग्रेड करेंगे एंड देन
Yeah.
बाइक को अपग्रेड करेंगे धीरे धीरे
Both have to
बिकॉज
match each other also.
आई नो मतलब मैं
Yeah.
हारूं उनसे तो मेरे पास बहाना तो रहेगा कि मेरा साइकिल इतना अच्छा नहीं था. आई कैन टेल कि मेरा तो कार्बन बाइक था मेरे कार्बन व्हील्स थे फिर भी ये लोग आगे चले गए. यू डोंट हैव एनी एक्सक्यूज.
Then you don't
So
have to, that's true.
yeah, so
Right. Yeah. So I think one last question before we wrap up is that from that first DC till now, I think before that DC, I don't think that you were coaching under anyone.
no.
Then for a while you coached under a couple of people, and then you've been self-coached
Yeah.
to now where you are actually coaching others to perform at the ultra races. So what role do you think coaching, I mean, whether it's self-coaching or you get somebody else to coach you, how much role has that played in your performance?
So I coached by Nitin sir after my first ultra spice. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That was the first time I was introduced for some like the terms FTP, power numbers, power meter. Okay, before that I was not aware about these things. कि कुछ power meter भी होता है या FTP भी होता है जो भी है. So it was a good journey with him because he anyways had experience of coaching few RAAM finishers.
Right.
Then yeah, so he was aware about that gravity, what it needs to finish RAAM and all. So from there to now self coach and now coaching others. So one thing I feel I busted a myth that you have to train a lot to complete RAAM. Okay, a lot of people train like 25 hours, 30 hours. But once you have that experience, once you do all these races like Ultra Spice is there. In my case, I did RAAM also in 2019.
Right.
After doing a lot of these races, when your body have experience of staying alive for like 5-6 days ka effort, you know how much training is required. Okay, because we don't pay a lot of attention on nutrition, so your recovery is not that good. But it is in European riders because they have good weather, they have such food items which are not which are grown in good organic environment and all these things. So they get a lot of benefit out of these foods. So if you train for 25 hours, it is very difficult for you to recover properly for the next week's training and to gain that strength out of the training. So it is better to train ample and focus on the recovery and nutrition more. So I used to train from 8 to 12 hours, which is less than any rider who trains for a 600 ka BRM. I have seen people ride for 15 hours, 20 hours in a week, which is more than anything. But my 10 hours ka training is as good as their entire week ka training. Okay, right. For like entire month ka training, because my training will be so intense, it will be so properly planned, so that I don't just put time on my saddle, I'll get lot of gain out of it.
Right.
So that is something like आप टीवी देखते देखते कुछ पढ़ रहे हो, so आप भूल जाओगे कि आप क्या पढ़ रहे थे. And when you sit for just reading and reading, आप वही reading 10 मिनट में खत्म करोगे जिसके लिए आपको 5 घंटा लग रहा था. So it is the quality rather than quantity, and it is more than enough if you can pull out 12 hours or 10 hours in a week to do RAM in a good timing. My longest ride used to be around 3 to 6 hours on a weekend, mostly 3 hours or maybe 4 hours, not more than that. But I had this experience earlier. So if someone, so the first thing you have to do, you have to do a lot of BRMs, do a lot of races. Once you have that experience and the the learning process, like बहुत ज़्यादा कर लिया, उसके बाद you can put your time into quality training, and you can train for these events with less training and a good quality training. So yeah, I always put a lot of attention on my trainees recovery and all. We take a call day prior,
Yeah.
because we take a call on us day ka feel kaisa. If some trainee is not feeling well on that day, I don't give him a hard session for the next day. And that don't give up
Yeah.
attitude doesn't work with me, because you have to respect your body,
Right.
the indications what your body gives. If you don't feel like training, don't train,
Right.
because sometimes your body gives you signals that your body need a good rest,
I think
and it is.
recovery is one thing that a lot of racers tend to neglect.
Yeah,
That you can
and that is the
only
main thing.
perform if you have actually recovered, and your
Yeah,
recovery is what will allow you to improve your performance. Without
yeah,
that, your training is actually useless. It's
yeah, absolutely. We saw Prashant Kumar coming for the DC, and he rode 100 kilometers before the
right,
DC.
right,
Yeah, it might work with you for DC kind of event, but it will not work for such ultra spice race or maybe RAM thing,
yeah,
because your body is now used to do 100 kilometers daily. It will
yeah,
not feel tired after doing 100 kilometers on multiple day, but your body might give up after doing 400 kilometers daily for 5 days,
right.
because your body has no idea about what your body will feel after 400 on a daily basis for like 10 days.
Also,
So
we don't
we
know
should.
how his performance might have improved if he had tapered
Correct.
off a week or two before and
Of
then
course, of
prepared
course,
for this. There's always that.
of course. He would have performed, I guess, maybe 20-25% better than the what he performed on that. So
I
मैंने
hope
जैसे
he comes
बोला
back.
कि कभी कभी we stay on our track and बाकी लोग गलती करते हैं. So that is the best example, I guess, कि ऐसे होता है, and
Yeah,
you have to give equal respect to your. So what I feel, if I am doing RAM in good timing, I am doing Himalayan in good timing. So I can't harass my body for back-to-back events. कि नहीं अभी ये
right.
भी करेंगे वो भी करेंगे, because you don't know at what time your body might give up.
Yeah,
It is not something ki everything is in your hand, because your muscles has different memory. They need
right,
different kind of respect. If you
right.
don't treat them respectfully, they are not going to support you in such races or events. If
Correct.
even on the 12th August, if I feel no, my body is ready, I feel like I should go and I should do Himalayan, that will be a call which my body is giving me, that we are ready, we
Right.
can go for this event and we can ride. If my body don't feel like अरे नहीं जाना है, मत जाओ, ready नहीं है, so it is the pure indication कि नहीं हो ready. Unnecessary
Yeah.
जाके कुछ फायदा नहीं है कि no no, I don't quit, I don't give up, I will hustle, I will
What you'll have
fight.
to, what the struggle is going to be the emotional call.
Correct. But you have to give the priority to your
Yeah,
call of your body's
yeah, yeah.
the performance. So yeah, so trainees को बताने के लिए मुझे easy जाता है कि what it feels, and when you have such someone to assist you, जिसने already RAM किया है या ऐसे long distance किए जो आपको आगे जाके करते हैं, that person can tell you hundreds of things which can happen with you.
Yeah.
hallucinations के बारे में बोल सकते हैं. Somebody who never rode a multi-day race can't tell you what can go
What will
wrong on a
happen?
multi-day race.
Right. Right.
Okay, if Chaitanya is very good at BC, but you can't tell that Chaitanya will can tell you what will happen in RAM with you. Okay,
Yeah.
but Chaitanya can tell you everything about DC. What
Right.
100 things can go wrong in your
Right.
DC? What 100 things can go wrong in your Ironman? Because he has experienced it on his own.
Right.
And again, one thing, it is not necessary that if someone writes very well, he can coach you very well, because
Yeah.
that is totally a different aspect.
Yeah.
If I write myself very well, so my trainees, so that communication has to be there कि आप उनको properly explain करके बता सकते हो कि how it goes, आपको कैसे cope up करना है उसके साथ. So that communication skill should be there. You
Mm.
need a lot of
Yeah.
patience
To be able
because
to take
कभी
feedback,
कभी
to take the feedback, to
exactly
process it from somebody else's perspective and give it back
exactly
using your
exactly
experience and learning through it.
you can't think that
Yeah.
it works with me so it will work with you. You can't go with that
Yeah. Right.
pattern.
Right.
In Kavita's thing, Kavita Talib's thing, power training never worked well with her. So we
Hmm.
shifted on a mileage training with her elevation and all. So we keep target कि आज इतने elevation के साथ इतना kilometers करना है.
Huh.
Because we choose lot of hill repeats. So rather than doing hill repeats on a training platform on power meter का thing, we choose such a route which has lot of hills on the route.
Okay.
So वो hill training भी होता है and that mileage also comes. So
Okay.
you have to find some
Yeah.
different things which will work. You can't just stick to on that thing कि अगर नहीं power meter सबके
Copy
साथ work
paste kind
so
of.
it will work with you also. You can't
Right.
stick to that rigidity.
Yeah.
So and again you get to learn lot of new things because किसी किसी को ऐसे ऐसे problems आते हैं जो मुझे कभी नहीं आए थे. So we read about those things. I try to find out कि अगर ऐसा issue आ गया तो इसके साथ क्या ज्यादा अच्छे से work करेगा. And when you achieve such stage, अगर RAM करने के बाद when I read something about it, it is very easy to learn out of it. अगर आप कुछ पढ़ो के भी तो you can relate to lot of things कि अगर हाँ अगर हम ऐसे करेंगे तो it will work like this. Even the length of your what we call it crank ka length also makes huge difference on your races.
Right.
If the crank arm ka length is shorter, it gives you a good angle on your knees, which keeps your muscles lot relaxed than a long length. Okay, it of course hampers your power, but again the requirement is different. So on a 40-kilometer TT you need a long crank arm, and on a long distance racing like our endurance races, I use 165 ka crank arm. So that helps a lot, and these micro changes helps you a lot. So अगर किसी को problem आ गया कि neck में I feel issues कभी, so I can just tell them कि पहले तुम stem change करके देखो because it decreases that reach और आपका ज्यादा muscle easy feel होता है. If somebody tells me कि मेरा finger numb हो रहा है, so that is not always the shoes. It is most of the time it is the sock, because if you wear Turkish sock or the thick sock, so cycling के shoes anyways बहुत ज़्यादा compact होते हैं because of their aero demand. And when you put such tight socks, so your blood circulation stops.
Right.
And it gives you numb fingers. So अगर आप thin जो cycling के लिए socks बने हैं, if you wear those, your finger numbness goes. So बहुत ज़्यादा लोग ये सारी चीजें सोचते नहीं कि माइक्रो करके क्या हो सकता है. They think कि नहीं मेरा जूता ही खराब है.
Yeah.
कभी कभी ऐसा होता है your foot is very wide.
It's interesting that in long distance, it is the hotspots from where you get issues are the ones which are not moving. So exactly. Your legs are moving, and you can train your legs to develop that kind of muscularity which will keep them moving. But it's the things that are not moving, like you said, the toes, your palms, the neck and shoulder area, because you're
exactly
in position. And so there you have to then start applying a lot more insight.
Even wearing some jersey with those what we call it, the price tag or maybe size tag, what comes with them.
हाँ
जो अंदर से लगा हुआ रहता है, you have to
हाँ
cut those things.
yeah.
अगर वो है, it irritates you,
Right.
you're putting a lot of energy to correct that thing. When you are on the bike, I feel you should feel like you're sitting on some sofa. That is your
That's
perfect
good.
bike fit.
Right.
Yeah, I can't drive a car for
Mm.
at a stretch for like 22 hours. But in DC last year, DC, I was off the saddle only for 6 minutes out
Oh,
of those 23 hours. So if
wow.
your bike fit is not that accurate, if you're not comfortable with all the accessories what you are wearing, then it is not possible to be on the bike for such a long time. So you have to keep doing trial and error with lots of things and you get something proper. तो उसको लिख के रखो. I have 10 types of bike fits written on a notebook की इतना saddle height है तो ये फर्क पड़ता था, अगर इतना कम है
Right.
तो ये एंगल था, when I keep my saddle ahead वो कौन से मिलीमीटर पे, because I don't want to lose it. And
Right.
इतने सालों से इतने बाइक फिट करके if I keep marking it, उसके ऊपर 10 मार्किंग आ जाएंगे
Correct. Correct.
कि ये इसका है वो उसका है.
Yeah.
So I have to keep writing everything and I
Right. Perfect.
yeah so
It's fantastic because this was my learning also during that time, and I had a wall against which I used to draw like my exact
correct
angle of things, and then make these same notes. Okay, what happened with
correct
when I was fine
yeah yeah
tuning. But
and you have to keep a
that's the
note of
level of input that you can get incremental improvements in your bike fit and in your performance.
exactly.
Finally, yeah.
I would like to share that after doing so many races, after taking so much of nutrition, I know how much my body dehydrates, how much water I need, so I can stop less for pee breaks. So in RAM, my first pee break was after 27 hours when I stopped for my
Oh,
sleep break. Yeah.
are you
So
serious?
yeah. So
Wow.
you
And
fine
without getting
tune.
dehydrated.
Yeah, without getting
Amazing.
dehydrated. Yeah, so you get so much fine tune with it. Even for DC, my pee break was only one pee break before Belgaum, only because it was raining and your body
Yeah.
absorbs the
Was
water
not
what is coming on your body. So if अगर बारिश नहीं होता तो I was sure कि मेरे को last end तक रुकने का जरूरत भी नहीं था. And it was raining continuously. So
wow. Huh.
if you if you keep paying attention to your body requirements and your nutrition, you end up knowing everything कि आपको अगर वेदर हॉट है तो आपको कितना ml वाटर लगता है, अगर वेदर कोल्ड है तो आपको कितना ml वाटर लगता है.
Correct.
So you can do all these things. So उसमें भी आपका टाइम नहीं जाता है and without getting dehydrated, without feeling anything uncomfortable or
Right.
something like that.
Because in
Yeah,
these
so
cases, you can't afford to
of course,
go even slightly,
yeah.
off the
So
thing, go on the negative balance. Bilkul
no,
nahi.
not at all, not at all.
Constantly.
So that was so fine
Really
tuned.
amazing.
हाँ, और ये after experience ही पता चलेगा. You
Correct.
can't
Correct. Yeah.
find out after one race or maybe two
Right.
races. You can't
Right.
find out. I guess it
And
took
I wouldn't
8.
offhand, I would just tell our listeners that, like, don't aim for this. Don't aim for not
Of
being
course.
in a race, because the thumb rule when you start doing these things that you should be peeing 3 to 4 times, and it's only
Yeah.
after you've reached this level of
Level.
observation and feedback with your body that you can consider doing.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it could be quite.
That is not a good call to do it. Yeah, of course not a good call.
Right.
And it took almost eight races for me to find proper nutrition, which works for me in best capacity. Okay, so now also I learn a lot of things while racing. Okay, so everyone complains about बहुत मीठा होता है, SN energy बहुत मीठा है, पीने का मन नहीं करता है या जो भी है. So what I did in this RAM, I used to have a SN energy. I used to drink it. I used to have plain water. I used to gargle and I used to drink that too. So आपका mouth used to get normal, एकदम normal.
Right.
So that I learned at this RAM. So there are so many things which you will learn like on day-to-day basis, जो आगे जाके पता चलेंगी. मतलब there is always a room to learn something new.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
sharing
so
on that,
much.
Kabir. I actually, uh, you know, s- listening to all this, I really think that one of the things that I used to feel that in the ecosystem it grows the it's the last thing to develop into maturity is human resource, and to have you over here having developed this maturity of insight into how to race these races properly and to share this within the country, I really feel that the ecosystem in India has reached a great point where we have your presence here and your willingness to share all your learning with people. Thanks
Always.
a lot. And just one last quick question. What are your immediate plans now? Race.
Immediate plan is like going for a world TT championship on 5th November, then the DC immediately after 18 days, because I just want to test myself how my body performs after 3 weeks
Consequence.
of good
Okay.
hard effort, because I don't think there is anything left to prove myself to someone ki I can win DC or I can dominate DC. I am okay to be at podium or maybe not even a podium, but now this is the time to try it out, try new
On
things,
yourself.
test
Hmm.
myself.
Hmm.
So now I'm done with going with that back foot attitude. अगर नहीं, अगर मैं 20 दिन पहले अगर 24 आवर टीटी
Uh-huh.
करूंगा तो 18 दिन बाद
Uh,
अगर डीसी अच्छा नहीं होगा, I might lose to someone. So no, I'll try to go full gas on both the events. So there is nothing to prove to
right.
someone ki I have that ability or I have that potential to do it. Maybe it might not work properly. Maybe it work very properly. I might end up doing more faster, or I might
Let's
end
see.
up
Look forward to that.
finishing at the fourth or fifth or sixth place. So I don't know anything, but yeah, I think this is the time to upgrade my mental capacity, my attitude towards the sport. I think now I'm done with being riding on a back foot or maybe more on a defensive mode. That I just want to finish this race in a
Right.
proper shape and
Yeah.
way.
Right.
Now I feel like it is hammer time now. So yeah,
Very
just
good.
go in every race and just go in every race and just hammer it as hard
That's
as we
blazing.
can. Yeah,
Good,
but
sounds great.
of course smartly, not
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
pushing pedals so hardly.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
We all look forward to seeing more and then maybe chatting with you even more about
yeah, of
where
course.
this journey is leading
Yes.
to. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Kabir.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks to all the listeners for
Thank
joining
you.
us on the Cycling Journal podcast. This episode with Kabir was recorded in early August of 2022. At that time, we asked him his plans, and he told our viewers what he was planning to race and how he was planning to approach his races. In the interim of about almost 10 months, Kabir has actually raced at 3 races, and I would like to add a small postscript to just inform our listeners and Kabir's followers about how he did in those 3 races. The first time that Kabir raced after his RAAM Solo podium in June of 2022 was again in the US at Borrego Springs, the World Time Trial Championship, also called 6:12:24, in which he raced in the 24-hour category. He completed 670 kilometers, ranking 8th out of 52 in his category. This was at a speed of 29 kmph. This race took place on the 4th of November, and within 3 weeks, he was back in India for at the start line of the Deccan Cliffhanger. Inspire India and the entire ultracycling community, as always, was very proud to have Kabir race at the Deccan Cliffhanger for the sixth consecutive time. And he did an incredible race, finishing first for the third consecutive time at Deccan Cliffhanger in 22 hours and 33 minutes, which was a new record for him. 2 months after that, in Jan of 2023, Kabir was back at Bogmalo, our favorite start point, for the Ultra Spice race. He raced 1780 kilometers, finishing in 94 hours and 36 minutes, a new record for this race. And this was his fifth podium at Ultra Spice. And as most of our listeners must be aware, Kabir is in Leh at the moment, training in preparation for his third RAAM Solo, which is less than a month away. Look forward to watching him at this race again. Goodbye, everybody.